In this video, we're going to take the quote that we've created and we're going to turn it into the invoice or an invoice, and I'm going to go over some of the features of that. Just so you know, you don't have to start with a quote. You can always start with an invoice, but for the video purposes, we went ahead and we created a quote. So we're going to go ahead and get that quote. I'm going to select on customers. I know who the customer is that we quoted. I'm going to go to the history. I'm going to select quotes, and there's a quote that we did earlier. So at this point in time, I'm going to assume that the quote is good to go and the customer's agreed to purchase. So I'm going to click one button, convert invoice or convert quote to invoice. I'm going to say OK. This is the customer that we're doing the job for. Everything comes over. As you can tell, there are some different options now. We have the options to make a payment, which we're going to apply that. Also, the invoice name is pretty important. So we use that for referencing older invoices. If somebody comes in and they want to repeat a job, we always have a name for a job, whether it be the baseball team or the Cubs or whatever it may be. We like to go ahead and put that in. And for this one here, we're just going to say it's a reunion. And then the sales rep's already associated. If this customer has a PO, we can go ahead and put that in now. The get average price never leaves. It stays with the quote and comes over with the invoice if you want to quickly reference the average pricing. Down here is our profit margin, and also on the scheduling side, we want to set a due date. If I hit the save button, it's going to tell me, because TeeCal defaults, you must have a due date, and in this industry, as everybody's aware of, everything works off due dates. So we're going to go ahead and set that. So I'm going to select set. I'm going to move this over, and we're going to go to the next month, and we'll say it's due on the 8th, and we'll update that. The reason we're defaulting also is because scheduling works off due dates. Our scheduling system does not allow you to schedule past the due date, so it needs a reference point. Then we're going to go ahead and we can make a payment. We'll just assume that the customer has paid 50% down, so we'll select cash. And then right here, I can select balance due if they pay in full, and it will associate right here exactly what the balance is. But we're just going to assume that they left us with $150 to start with. And then you can see the remaining balance changes for you, and we'll hit submit. And this pops up. You can print this invoice at this time if you'd like. If your invoice was $300 or say $295 and they give you $300, you can actually apply $300 and it'll show you what to give them back in reference to change. So we'll go ahead and click save and close on that. And it's simple as that. The only thing that's different is our production status is now available and our artwork approval is available. And I'm going to show you another item. If I hit save again, this is going to pop up. So what this is asking me is the products that we have associated with this invoice, are they approved by the customer so that we can go ahead with our purchase from our vendors? And we're just going to assume that they are, and we're going to click yes. And by doing that, I want to show you what happens. So these are the Atlantic Blue G500s, and we've got 12 of each. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to our purchase order area. And as you can see right here, it moved them to our purchase list automatically by clicking OK on that approval. Throughout the day, as we get more invoices, get more jobs, and we keep selecting that for each job, this is going to fill up for you. So by your cutoff time, whoever you purchase from, you can go ahead and select everything if it's available to everybody, and then you can create your one purchase order for all the jobs. We'll get into this in more detail too, and we'll go over it quite a bit. But for right now, we're going to reference our invoiced. I'm going to show you one more thing to this as far as the products. If your customer calls back after you've already submitted them to the purchase list and they decide now they don't want 12 small, they want 13 small. So if I come in and I put 13, and now again if I hit that save button, TeeCal knows that there's been adjustments to this price, or I'm not the pricing, but the quantities, and we're gonna prove that. We're gonna say yes. And so I went from 12 to 13 small, and I just want to show you what that looks like. So if I come back to our purchase list, you can see right here that now the small has went to 13. So those modifications can be done throughout the day. When you're ready to place your order, you can be assured that the products are correct as far as the quantities. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do artwork approval. So we're going to select artwork approval. I'm going to select add. The reason I selected add is because we're going to assume that the artwork has already been completed and now I need to get approval from my customer. So if I scroll down, I have a little image here and we're going to hit open on that image and it's going to appear right here. Artwork comments is something that you can put in there. You can stipulate the size of the art maybe, what exact colors you're printing, etc. So I mean you can put comments here of any kind, but keep in mind that this is going to print out on the artwork approval. So once I make those comments, I want you to also know that if I have a front, a back, a sleeve, left sleeve, a right sleeve, all you have to do is keep clicking add. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this again. I realize it's the same image. It's the only one I have to work with at this point. So I'm going to hit open and now I have both of them in here. So at this point you can do your printout and you'll see that both of them are there, and that's what we're going to do. Basically, I'm going to show you what the artwork approval looks like. So I'm going to hit this save button, and if I wanted to email it, I would click on email. If I want to just print preview it, I could do it here, or I can hit the print button. So for right now, I'm going to show you how the email works. I'm going to go ahead and select email. I get a pop-up and it's asking me what would I like to email my customer. Well, let's go ahead and email them my invoice, and let's email them the artwork approval. If you're a contract printer, you have the option to hide your business header, and you also, if you have a artwork disclosure, approval disclosure, you can hide that too. So they'll kind of get a blank form, but with all the artwork, so that your customer can easily forward that on. We'll leave it to where we can view it. Also, you have items to how you want your invoice to appear. If you don't want to itemize, you want a full summary, etc., you can do that. We'll go ahead and we'll leave that as itemized. I'm going to select email. And now when I selected email, it automatically builds this screen for me. It formulates everything into a PDF and attaches it also. It will take if you have the email address associated with the customer, it'll bring it in for you. You can blind CC yourself. But at this time, I want to see what I'm sending my customer. So I'm going to double click that. And now this is what the invoice as it appears. This is what your customer is going to receive in the PDF. All the information is here. The line items are here. When we change the production name to t-shirts, it's associated right here. If you had hats and etc., you can associate the production name. Now I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to show you what the artwork approval looks like. If you remember, we brought in two different items just for the sake of showing you that we can, and we would say maybe this is the front and this is the back, and you would associate that on your comments too to let them know exactly what that is. Now artwork approvals, however you want to do it, if you want to actually bring in a shirt with the image on it for them to view, you can do that too. You can do it like this, have two more with it on the shirt, however you want. Sky's the limit. Now with TeeCal, not only are they going to approve the art, but they're also going to approve what they're purchasing, because I want the complete approval. I don't want to have them sign off or email back this is good and not have the products be approved at the same time. So anyway, that's the look of that. So let's get back to our previous screen. And now I can type in whatever I want, and all I have to do is hit send, and my customer will receive that, and we'll be ready to go. So we'll close that out. And that's pretty much the overview on the approval. And again, you can change anything you want. You can make this look any way you want. Now let's talk about the production status and how that works. Now, if you're purchasing items and you're receiving items, this area right here will update automatically. You do not have to make manual updates to this. It'll do it for you. Artwork status, as the job progresses, and maybe it's artwork in progress, maybe you're waiting for the customer approval, etc. that's where this information goes. Now, as you can see, these are grayed out. The reason they're grayed out is because I have no products to work with, and I also have no approval on the art, so we can't progress through our statuses. And we'll go into that more detail as we get going down the road on our console. So one more thing I want to show you here is I'm going to bring up our console, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to tab through here and show you how this works. Now, since we've sent our information to the purchase list, I'll go back to this invoice. This little check mark right here tells me that. So to the console, it's telling me that the items are basically on the purchase list, but I've done nothing with them, so they're not started. In the receiving side of this, remember we're doing the reunion shirts, it's telling me that the purchase isn't even started, so there's really no receiving. So here's my reunion shirts again, as the artwork is not started. Now that's where this job will stop as far as production. You will not see it in any other tabs until those items are completed. And that's pretty much an overview of creating the invoice. There'll be further videos on how to set up production, etc. So I thank you for watching, and click to the next video, and we'll start again.